they're doing. That's all I do. Ray said to me, have you ever seen me broke? I said, no. He said, did you ever see me sick? I never had. He said, do you think I'm a happy guy? I said, yeah. Well, he said, you know, you got to be one of the most miserable people I've ever met, Bob. And he said, you're always broke. Yet he said, you're always sick. He said, your way's not working. Why don't you try mine?
Your mind can conceive and believe your mind can achieve.
I have seen so many changes take place in people's lives. If you go over it often enough, you'll be just as convinced as I am.
I'll never forget it. It started on a Friday night, and I go in the seminar room and I sit down, and out walks on stage Bob Procter. I didn't even know who he was, but the minute he started talking, it was like someone took my head off, shook it around, and put it back on, and everything I thought was true was just like upside down.
I met Bob 9 years ago. I was really at the bottom. I was $150,000 in debt, and he said, if you'll do exactly what I tell you to do, everything will change.
So I remember when I first started being mentored by Bob, he's like, you got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone, or if not, you're going to continue to stay stuck.
Mikey Seller here was a nanny, no business experience when she came to work with our company. She's the chief operating officer of our company today. And it's by studying this material.
Any of the people that work in our company, you're going to find out they are genuinely nice people. This is not a common or a normal environment. You've got people that have come from all different walks of life. They've come from various different parts of the world, and they've all come for the same reason. There's something in here that's attracting them. There's something they're in harmony with. There's something they want to get.
Spirit is for expansion and fuller expression. We always want to expand in a bigger way. We want to introduce ourselves to a part of ourselves we never even knew was there.
You got to take massive action. If you guys are going to create what you're capable of creating, you have got to go out and do. Like Emerson says, do the thing will give you power.
You see, when you work at this kind of a business, as many years as I've worked at it, you see a lot of different things. Follow the people who really know what they're doing. That's all I do. This is those crazy dreams. It's a level of vibration. It's called frequency. Like a plant, anything has an energy. Everything moves, nothing rests. Everything's energy. Well, you're a mass of living energy, a very high speed of vibration. There is an infinite number of frequencies. You're dealing with infinite. No beginning, no end.
What happened? How come you got so good at helping other people?
Where you said the key to earning money and being successful was just leave everybody better off than you found them.
You're here, you want to go here. You make the decision, and it's a committed decision. You're automatically on that higher level of frequency. You're in tune now with the thoughts, with the ideas, with the resources, the people that can help you get what you want.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back for day 2 of the Millionaire Frequency. I'm Mikey Stiller, the Chief Operating Officer and Director of Marketing for the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and your hostess for the event this week. We are so thrilled to have you back joining us either again for day 2, or if this is your first time joining us and you missed day 1, don't worry, because all of the replays from this week are available, but for a very short amount of time. They are all coming down on Monday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So if you need to catch up on anything, or if you want to rewatch anything, make sure that you do that as quickly as possible. Now, for those of you that were with us yesterday, today is going to be very similar format-wise. And for those of you that were not, here is a brief update of how the day goes. I'll be here to welcome you. We are going to play a quick lesson. Today is all about goals, and we have an incredible lights out lesson on goals that's going to go about 30 minutes. It's by Sandy Gallagher. So make sure you have a pen and a piece of paper ready for that. On the other side of Sandy's lesson, I will be here to introduce Araj Vasugi. He is our top coach and Senior Vice President at the Proctor Gallagher Institute. You're going to be in great hands with him as he walks you deeper through the lesson on goals and provides another perspective. And we will end with Monica DeMarin, one of our top coaches and vice presidents, and she is going to do a very brief recap and then give us an assignment for the day. I mentioned yesterday that you could attend the events every single day this week and walk away with nothing if you don't put in the work and take action every single day on what you're learning. So make sure that you're doing the assignments, that you're touching base with your success advisor, and really getting the absolute most out of this event. If you're going to be here, get the most out of it. Now, without further ado, I'm going to hand this over and we're going to play Sandy Gallagher's lesson on goals. Araj and I will meet you on the other side.
Are you willing to change? Why would you change? Because you want to grow. Why do you want to grow? Because we're spiritual beings. Spirit is for expansion and fuller expression. When you are not expanding and growing and expressing yourself, you're dying. You're dying inside, and your spirit is just screaming out at you. And you can hear it in many different ways. You see it expressed in your physical body. You see it in your energy level. You see it in the people you're attracting around you. Are you moving forward or are you moving backwards? If you want to grow, and we all want to grow, you have to change. You have to embrace change. And it's not easy. And a lot of people just don't do it. That's why so few are really living the life they want. I remember being interviewed by Larry King, and I asked him that question because he had interviewed, the most well-known people, high-profile people over his career. And I asked him, of all the people that you have interviewed, how many do you think are really living the life they want to live? And he answered, very few. Very few people are really living the life they want to live. And so you got to answer this question, are you willing to change? And you might say yes now, but you got to be willing to change, and you got to lock that in as part of your paradigm, because that's what's required. Now, I want to just give you an overview of a couple ideas, and one idea is that you can create your own economy. I remember when I first heard that, I'm like, what are you talking about? You can create your own economy. How many of you can relate? And if your spouse is here, don't raise your hand. But how many of you can relate to living in the same household? And one of you is having the best economy of your life and the other's in a Great Depression. Yeah, a lot of people can relate to that because you create your own economy. It doesn't matter what's going on outside of you. In the Great Depression, there were more millionaires made per capita than ever in the Great Depression. Why is that? Because there were people that were looking for opportunity. And there were so many opportunities to help people during that time. You create your own economy. How do you create your own economy? One thing you do is you set the goal that is going to make you stretch and introduce you to a part of you didn't even know was there. Now really think about that. You have a concept of who you are. And if you set the right goal, you're going to do things you didn't even know you could do. If you set the goal so high, you're going to encounter obstacles. You're going to encounter criticism. You're going to encounter people saying, why are you wasting your time? Why is this? Because all the people in your life are in harmony with your paradigm. That's what you've attracted up to this point. And then you've got your paradigm inside of you that wants you to stay exactly where you are. And so when we set goals, we typically set A-type goals. What are A-type goals? That's when you do what you already know how to do. Like 4 years ago, you bought a new Chevrolet truck. How many of you have trucks? I am so excited about trucks right now. I got this Chevrolet. It's a high country 2500 heavy duty, I think it's called. And I mean, I look like a little pea in it, but I absolutely love it. It is so cool. Anyway, my point is, if you bought a Chevrolet truck 4 years ago and now you want to buy a new Chevrolet truck, is that a goal? If it is a goal, what kind of goal is it? Because you already know how to do it. So where's the growth? There's absolutely no growth. Now, here's the trap, the B-type goal. This is what you think you can do. Now, when I was in the boardrooms with banks and we would come to our planning for the year, we were in the B-type goal. Well, it was kind of on the verge of A and B. You know, they would be all excited about 5% growth for the next year. Woohoo, 5%. I mean, that is like basically doing what you did the last year. And that paradigm was so locked in that if you came up with a goal of 100% growth, what would happen? The regulators would come in and tell you you had to change it. The regulators would not even approve your new branches or your bank merger because that was too big of growth. And so it's so locked into us to come up with these goals. How many times have you heard that your goals should be realistic? Ridiculous. That's crazy. Why? Okay, if you're doing a B goal, you could say this is a realistic goal. Why? Because what you're doing is you're planning and you're saying, okay, let's just say your goal is to go on a month's trip around the world and you need X dollars to do it. And so you start planning and you think of people that can cover for you when you're gone and you start pulling money from this account and that account and you're if this happens and if that works out perfectly and we put this together and that together, we can do that. We can take this month off. And then the minute you go to start working on this, you start to encounter opposition. Your people in your life, because they're in harmony with your paradigm, are saying, you know, this really isn't a good time for you to be leaving. I mean, your company's in a real growth mode. How could you leave? This could happen, that could happen. And so they start to criticize you for your decision. They're not supporting you. And you're running into obstacles, and you don't have any inspiration because you're not really excited about it, because this isn't what you really want to do. What you really want to do is leave this company that you've been with for a long time, and you want to start a new venture. And it's in a completely different field that you have no experience in. But you just love it. I mean, something just sets you on fire and you love it. But you're like, no, I can't do that because I have no idea how I'm going to do it. So you stick with this B-type goal. And then what happens? You drop it. You drop it. But here, I want you to look at the space on this slide. You got the little space for the A-type goal. You got the little space for the B-type goal. And all that space up there. Everything your heart desires, it's just waiting for you to grab it. But we don't even think about grabbing it. We often don't give any conscious consideration to grabbing it. And so what we do, and I want you to think about yourself and how many times you've done this. You start with A-type goal, you go to a seminar like this, Bob Proctor's out on stage, he gets you so inspired, so pumped up, you come with a B-type goal, what you think you can do, and you refuse to go and stay in that space of stretching. Because it's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. you got to learn. I said we all have to change if we want different results. We also have to start to embrace being really uncomfortable. And I often ask in the seminar, especially we hold this 6-day matrix event, and it's for people that want to form their own company or want to take an idea and turn it into form, manifest it. And we spend 6 intense days with them. And at about day 2 or 3, I ask people, how are you feeling? And I ask anybody, does anyone feel like they want to throw up? Yeah. Does anyone have a headache? Yeah. Usually it's day 3 where it's the worst. Why is this? Because the paradigm is just screaming at you. You're so uncomfortable. Your paradigm just wants to hold you back. And so we naturally think, well, I want to feel better. I got to go back to what feels better. And so we don't stretch. But here, think about what Robert Heinlein said. In the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until ultimately we become enslaved by it. So we're so enslaved by what we're doing, by the path that we're on. We're so enslaved by Facebook, or even Candy Crush, or like these things that aren't moving us towards our goal. And it becomes daily trivia. We become enslaved by it. And then we find we're not living the life we truly want to live. And the only thing better than an excuse is a good excuse. We can come up with all kinds of wonderful excuses. When I had this goal and I was talking to my dad about it, he's like, but Sandra, you're never going to get clients like that again. And I mean, he was a brilliant man, but he really believed that. And there's all these reasons that are so good to stay where you are, but it's not the truth, and you're not living an authentic life. So we have to come up with a goal, and it can't just be a goal that others think you can do or what you think is the right thing for you. Like for me, I kept coming up with my B-type goal of expanding on the law. It was all tied to being a lawyer. It was all tied to working with banks and other financial institutions. But it's not really what I wanted, so it didn't inspire me. What was happening? The paradigm was holding me down. To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. Joel Barker, he did a movie on paradigms. He wrote a book on paradigms, and it's brilliant. And so we say, if I asked you right now, are you willing and able to change your paradigm? You might say, yeah, I'm willing. I want to change my paradigm. What is a paradigm, by the way? And it's easy to say, I know what a paradigm is. But do you really know at an emotional level what a paradigm is? I've been studying this for 13 years, and I am amazed at how much I learn about paradigms every single day. So yeah, we might be willing to do it, but are you able to do it? To really change your paradigm, you have to understand what it is. That's why we're here at the Paradigm Shift. And that, of all the things that Bob's an expert at, it's shifting paradigms. He's incredible at shifting paradigms. And so that's what we're doing here this weekend. Now, this quote is something that I use all the time. Buckminster Fuller, brilliant. He was a brilliant man, created the geodesic. He taught architects. You know what the first thing is he taught them? Is forget everything you know. Forget everything you know. And he said, if you want to change something, don't change it by fighting the existing reality. If you want to change something, build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. Now, I want you to really think about that. And you might even write this down and commit it to memory. I did right from the beginning. I use it all the time. So how many times do you find yourself, you're in a relationship and it's just one problem after another? How much of your energy are you putting into fighting the existing reality? In other words, just parsing through what went wrong, why there's problems, versus saying, okay, we know we got a problem. It's not how we want it. Let's create a new model. Let's start behaving this way with each other. It works in relationships. It works with companies. It works with everything. I use this with the companies. When I came in to run the companies, 19 of them, and they were not a cohesive whole, and at all. And it would have been so easy to put my energy into solving all the problems that I saw in front of me. And people wanted me to do that. You got to solve this. You got to do this. This is most critical. And instead, I created a new model of what this company would look like. And that model existed only in my mind for the longest time. But it was vivid. It was real. And it was a new model that would make the old model obsolete. Literally, you create this new model. You don't put your energy into what you don't want. And what you don't want starts to fall away. A lot of it falls away by neglect. Literally. I remember thinking I had to do everything. All these emails would pop in. I had to answer every email. I had to answer it right away. I had to solve all these problems. And I heard Bob say, many things can be solved by neglect. And at first I thought, well, that doesn't sound very responsible. And I realized it's such a beautiful truth. You got to create your own model. You got to decide on the agenda for your life, for your day. What are you doing today? Are you going to be just propelled by everything around you, or are you going to be propelled by this new model that you have created? And here's something to really keep in mind. It's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. It's who you think you're not. And we're going to spend a lot of time this weekend talking about who you are. And if you can really take that in and understand who you are and understand right here, right now, there is a power that's flowing to and through you. Energies flowing to and through you. And it's undifferentiated. And you shape it with your thought. Everybody has the same energy flowing to and through them. The only thing different between all of us is the thought, the funnel we've created with our thought that differentiates that energy. And that energy has no purpose other than to help you express your individuality. When you really understand that and get that at a deep level, you believe you can create anything you want for your life and be anyone you want for your life. So don't think this way that it's who you think you're not. Understand who you truly are, every one of you. Self-confidence is the first prerequisite to great undertakings. I learned that lesson a really hard way with Bob. I had told him right in the beginning, I want to run the company, but I want to understand this industry. So I want to go on every speaking engagement you go on. I want to learn to teach this like you. I'm willing to do the work. I'm going to do it. I traveled 300 days with him the first year. It was so intense. I couldn't believe how much energy he had. He was a pure channel for energy, just flowing to and through him. Nothing could stop him. I was just amazed and fascinated. And we were on a trip to Romania. And they were going to have Bob speak for a day. And there were at least 1,000 people in the room. There were translation booths in the back, 7 of them. They were translating simultaneously into seven different languages. And Bob's out there teaching all morning, and this is later in the year, and I don't remember exactly what month, maybe September, and I had attended a lot of events with him, and on the side I was studying, I was preparing, but I had never gone out and taught. And Bob gets off the stage, and it's lunchtime, and he turns to me and he said, "Okay, you're on for an hour after lunch." And I thought he was joking. And he was not. And so then we go to lunch. He's telling everyone what a great presentation I'm going to give. And I'm like, how does he know? He's never heard it because I've never given it. And, I'm starting to feel really sick. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? I all of a sudden had no confidence. And I wasn't used to that. Again, this is where you got to stretch, you got to get uncomfortable. I was like, I want to go back to my bank mergers. I can do my bank mergers. I felt confident with bank mergers. Now, here's the funny thing about self-confidence. How many of you in the room would feel comfortable if I said, okay, go into the boardroom and negotiate this bank merger? Probably not many, maybe a few, probably not many. But some of you would say, yeah, I want to go out on stage. I was saying, get me out of here. And lunch went really fast, and I'm like not feeling good. And Bob's miking me up, and he's picking up that I'm not feeling too good. And he's like, wow, do you want to go out there? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I go out there, and I'm on stage, and there's speakers, and other people are lined all along the side, people in the company that had brought him in. And Bob's right in the middle there. And I'm out on stage, and so he says you have an hour, right? So I start talking, and I really get into it, and I'm so excited because I'm on a roll, and it's so good. And then I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And I look down at the clock, and I'm thinking, surely I'm going over my time. And I look at it, 15 minutes. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? I had nothing left. I mean, I gave him everything I knew. And I turned, and I looked at Bob. Do you know what he did? He turned and looked away. And I'm like, serious? I wanted any kind of, I don't care if it was just, whatever. And he turned away. And for a flash of a second, I was so pissed off. And but then I thought, okay, I'll walk down in the audience. I'd seen Bob walk down in the audience and work with people. So I walked down in the audience. I started working with people. And of course, then whatever they said sparked something in my mind. And it just flew by. It just totally flew by. But what's the lesson there? Well, first it was funny because one thing crossed my mind when I was going out on stage was I could hear people in my imagination saying, "Where's my Bob?" Because they only got him one day. And so this one guy that I'd gone up and talked to, he came up to me afterwards and he goes, "When you walked out there, I was so pissed off." I'm like, "Where's my Bob?" He goes, "But I was so glad you were out there." And it turned out well. But what's the lesson? Sometimes to get this confidence, because what is confidence? It's experience and knowledge. You might have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the experience, you may be challenged with self-confidence until you start to develop a confidence that you can do anything you set your mind to, because you understand who you are. And so I gained that self-confidence by Bob turning away, leaving me to figure out on my own how to do it. Self-confidence, first prerequisite to great undertakings. Now, I don't know anyone better than Bob Proctor to teach you how to shift your paradigm, how to develop unshakable confidence that you can do whatever it is you want to do, that can get you to understand truly at your essence who you are, and how to take that and turn it into a working reality for your life, to really make things happen. He's been doing this for 58 years, going on 59 years. The guy is 85 years old. No, he's 86. How old is he, Brian? 55. Sorry, Bob. Yeah, I just had a birthday, and Bob said to me, no, you don't clap your hands, you. Bob said to me, "You're now closer to 60 than you are to 50. I said, "Oh, thanks, Bob." Now, and then he goes, "Well, I'm closer to 90 than I am to 80. I'm like, "Oh, I feel a lot better." You guys are supposed to say, "You're that old?" You don't. He's been doing this for 58 years. And it's not just that he's been doing it and just resting on his laurels. I have never seen anyone work every single day on perfecting their craft. And he talked about the journal, the paradigm shift journal. Well, you guys will get it, I believe, tomorrow. You have to write with your opposite hand a paragraph every day for a year. He's doing that. We're doing it together. We're on day 148. Here's a man who has worked his whole life at changing his paradigms and changing other people's paradigms, and he's doing that exercise every day. He works on his PowerPoints nonstop. He's always trying to perfect his craft. Phil, you've been working with him for 20 years. You guys are going to get to know Phil this weekend. He is probably the best student that Bob has ever had. He's got a shoebox of goal cards that he's achieved. And he keeps going for bigger and bigger. You're going to hear about it. It's astounding. And it's awesome. And that's what's possible. And one of the best things that Phil does? When Bob tells him to do something, he does it. And that is very hard to do. I hit send because he shocked the heck out of me, and I had to hit send. And he's like, "Are you in or you're out?" But he also, I was looking for a home to buy. And I'd been looking for years. And, you know, I didn't look at the price tag because most of us are used to, like, we'll go shopping for clothes or something and we look at it and we look at the price tag before we even ask ourselves if we like it. How many can relate to that? Yeah. Well, and real estate, they have the books and they're broken down by price point. And you go to the section where you think you should be spending, where you think you can afford. Well, I stopped looking at price tags altogether. And I would look at these homes. I looked at a $60 million home down in Laguna Beach once. I didn't even like it. It was like a hotel. But I didn't look at the price point. And so here I was going to visit Cynthia Kersey and Blaine, and they lived on Whidbey Island part of the year. And so I Googled luxury waterfront home, Whidbey Island. And the third listing there jumped out at me, and I clicked on that, and then the third link there jumped out at me. And it was a virtual tour of this home on Mutiny Bay. And I fell in love with it, absolutely fell in love with it. And I go to look at it, and I loved it. And then I talked to Bob, and he said, well, are you going to buy it? And I said, oh, God, no, I found out how much it costs. Never say that to Bob. He's like, what? Do you believe what we teach? And I'm like, yeah, I believe what we teach. He goes, now you need to go back there. You need to live in every room of the house. And I said, I really wanted to have Christmas dinner there with my family. And he's like, okay, imagine Christmas dinner and the conversations you're going to have. And I want you to really get into this. And so Cynthia had gone with me the first time I looked at it. I went back the afternoon, and I did exactly what he said. And the realtors are following me around trying to sell the place. And I'm like, Bob told me to be one with the house. So I said to the realtors, excuse me, I need to be one with the house. They're like, okay, crazy lady, we'll leave you alone. And so I went into every room and literally, like in the bedroom, put my feet up on the ottoman. I want you to imagine yourself doing this. This is a home that, for me, was way beyond what I wanted to spend. There's pictures of the house up on the screen, on the property. And I went into every room. My feet are up on the ottoman. I'm looking out. I pull out a book. I start reading and enjoying the view, turn on the fireplace. I went in and used the restroom. I sat in the tub even. And then it was hard to get out of because it's really deep. But anyway, and then I went into the kitchen. And I started picturing my family there and conversations we would have at Christmas dinner. And I just really started to feel it like it had happened. This is my home. And I mean, I just fell in love with it. I thought this would be such a great place to write books and to study and to teach and to work on the company. And I just fell in love with it. And I talked to Bob after, and he said, so are you going to buy it? And I'm like, oh, I love it. But man, it wouldn't be prudent to spend that kind of money on a house. Because I had gone from it was illogical to now it just wouldn't be prudent. And he's like, that's just ridiculous. And so he said, here's what I want you to do. And this is where it gets hard. But I knew the results that he got. And countless, you're going to see many examples this weekend. When you start to really lock into the results he gets for people, or the people get when they listen to what he says and they do it. And I started to get to the point where I really didn't argue back or question too much. And he said, okay, you need to create a Christmas dinner invite and invite your whole family for Christmas dinner at your new home on Whidbey Island. And I'm like, I haven't even put an offer on this house. I mean, I don't have a home on Whidbey Island. And he's like, do you believe what we teach? And I'm like, oh. So I created the invite and I sent it, which is just seems so crazy. But I did it. And everybody RSVP'd instantly. Yes, we'll be there. My whole huge family's coming for Christmas dinner at my new home on Whidbey Island. And then they're going, now what's about this new home on Whidbey Island? And I'm like, oh, we'll talk about that later. But what happened? What happened when I did that? All of a sudden, and Bob knew that there was no way I wasn't going to own a new home on Whidbey Island for Christmas dinner. There was no way that that would happen. And so I thought, I better get to work. And I negotiated the deal, worked out a good deal, and I gave myself 3 months to come up with a big amount of cash. that I did not have. And I ended up closing early and moving in early, and I had a beautiful Christmas dinner with my entire family that I will never forget. My dad, I still remember the conversations, the laughter, the joy, and my dad passed away 2 years ago this November, and I always think back to that dinner and what a special time it was, you know, but you have to do some crazy things to get to that point. And what happens is, and we're going to get into this in detail, and you just want to lock into it so high. When you make that committed decision, your thought is on a frequency, and you elevate your thought to the frequency of your goal. You cannot do that until you've made a committed decision. And then the ideas and the people and the resources start coming to you. And you figure out the how. But if you start with the how, if you get locked into the how and you let it stop you from even creating the goal and making a committed decision, you're never going to get there. You can't. So it's really key to make that committed decision and lock in to what you really want.
All right, what an incredible lesson on goals, which follows up really nicely to yesterday's lesson on paradigms. Now I'm joined again by Araj Vasugi. Again, he is our top coach at the Proctor Gallagher Institute, our senior vice president. He also studied side by side with Bob for 14 years, was one of his very best friends. And Bob not only taught him, and he wasn't only a great student, but Bob taught him how to teach this material. I'm excited to hear how he teaches goals today. Araj, how are you?
I'm great, Mikey. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to jump into goals because I know that your goals have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over the last 14 years. And I would love to know what you understand about goals today that you didn't understand 14 years ago.
Well, it's a great question. I think back, and I always knew that I was supposed to set goals, but I didn't understand the goal achievement process at all. And I would always, I wouldn't say always, inconsistently write them down. But I'd always set goals that I thought I could achieve. So that's where I was setting my goals. And when I met Bob, he said the difference between winning and losing is goal, not just goal setting, but goal achieving. And you know as well as I do, Mikey, because you work closely with Bob as well, anytime you weren't performing or you were stuck, it came down to two things. It came down to your attitude or goals. It was always, nope, it's your attitude or you don't have a goal. And he said, I understand that you have something written on a card, but you don't have a real definite goal and are committed to it. See, a goal without commitment is useless. It really is useless. And Bob really got that ingrained. So, and I remember years ago, Bob told me, he said, goal setting isn't the idea at all. Goal achieving is. Goal achieving happens through a lawful process, and everything happens by law, not luck. So from that moment on, I didn't just set goals. I set goals that I didn't know how I would achieve. Like my goal right now, I don't know how I'd achieve. But all the goals that I've set along the way over the last 14 years, I would have never known. And the one thing is, I accept them. I talked about accepting an idea yesterday. I accept them right away like they're done. So I fuse with it right away. I don't know how, I don't believe it yet, but I've already accepted it. Now I get into focusing what I need to do and how I need to think.
Yep. Raj, you're absolutely right. I can't even count how many times Bob would say we'd be stuck, or I would call him up and I'd be like, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm on track, or I'm not feeling inspired, whatever it may have been, whatever the case may have been. He'd be like, well, you don't have a goal. And I'd be like, no, that's not true. I do have a goal. I do have a goal, because this goes back to the paradigm, which we were going over yesterday. We convince ourselves that we have a goal when really it's just an idea. It's nothing. It's not a burning desire. We're not committed to it. We haven't made that unwavering decision. And you see that. You work with hundreds of our clients every single week, thousands on a monthly basis. And you see it time and time again. People have their excuses that they're married to, and then they trick themselves into believing that they've got this committed goal that they're working towards, when really that's just not the case.
Yeah, goal, it's the majority. And that's why, 3% of the people are 97% of the income. The top 3% understand that. The 97% are really setting their goals, if they do have them, from the outside. That's how I used to do it. So I understand it. I always say, we're so physical. Bob and I used to talk about that. I was sitting at a seminar we were doing. It was a small event we were doing with 20 people. And we're sitting in the back, and I was going up to speak. And I said, one of the biggest things I learned, Bob, from where I was to where I am now, is you can't let the outside control you. And he said, it is so hard not to do, because our whole life we've been set up to do it that way. And that's what we were taught. I'll believe it when I see it. And I said, but it's essential. He said, if you want to win, it's essential. If you want to achieve the life you want, because the whole purpose of goals are for us to grow. We want to have goals that inspire us. If we're not inspired, our heart's not into it, we're not going to be at our best. We will operate from our paradigm, and some people have very healthy paradigms, so they'll do good enough to get by and live a good life. But to create an extraordinary life, I have to really stretch out of my comfort zone and really create myself into an idea that really gets me uncomfortable, that I don't know what to do and how to do it. I was talking about it yesterday, Mikey. I said, and I learned this from Bob. Like everything I've learned from him. I give him all the credit to it, because he used to always tell me, if you don't get out of your comfort zone, you don't deserve to win. He said, it's plain and simple. And he said, most people won't go out of their comfort zone. And if they're out of it, they'll be out of it for a couple seconds. You have to live out of your comfort zone, because then you start building and really using the God-given potential we have and letting our genius out.
I love that. Raj, I mentioned yesterday that one of the reasons this format is so powerful is because everyone is hearing something from Bob, or today Sandy's perspective, and then you're going to give a completely different perspective, and they're going to hear it a little bit differently. And there's going to be light bulbs going off whenever you're teaching, when Bob's teaching, when Sandy's teaching, but it's going to hit differently. I'm really excited to hear how you go into both goal setting and goal achieving today. So I'm going to hand it over to you so you can jump into your slides.
All right. Thanks so much, Mikey. This is one of my favorite lessons that I have learned and that I teach on goals, because we did paradigms yesterday. Today's goals, tomorrow is going to be on attitude and self-image, where they all build off each other, and they are so important. And it really is a combination on how to create a millionaire frequency. I want to make sure everyone's eye is on the prize, which the whole purpose of this is teaching you how to create a millionaire frequency and how to really understand how to think like a millionaire. And nothing happens without goals. Now, big things. There are huge, enormous things in front of you right now. And we have to understand that everything that has happened in our lives, in my life, in Bob's life, in Sandy's life, in Mikey's life, has prepared us that has been absolutely essential for everything that is going to happen going forward. That means all my failures, all my successes, all my setbacks, all my stopping, when I was talking about when I first met Bob, has prepared me for something much greater. Now, Bob used to tell me that. He said, big things are happening and you don't see it, but everything that's prepared us to work together, you had to go through, I had to go through before we got together. And I am talking to every one of you that everything that has happened in your life has prepared you for something that you're going to understand a few years down the road, because there are big things coming for you. Now, in order to understand and create a millionaire frequency and really create a massive quantum leap for yourself, we want to understand that your spiritual DNA is absolutely perfect. It requires no modification or improvement. It is all-knowing. It is all-powerful. It is ever-present, and it is the real you. Now, the great question is, are you truly who you pretend to be? I know for many years I was not. I was not who I pretended to be. Until I met Bob and I got comfortable with who I was, that's when my results took off. So if you're sitting there right now wanting to create a massive quantum leap with a lot of insecurities, embrace the insecurities, but understand that they're not real. They may feel real, but they're not the you who you are really destined to be. Now, this is a big idea. Our spiritual DNA is absolutely perfect. It absolutely is. Our Creator has given us the ability to go think whatever we want to think, to go act however we want to act, and really use our marvelous power in our mind to create whatever we want. Well, it requires no modification or improvement. That means you don't need anything outside of you. You have everything inside of you. It is all knowing. Well, when you tap in and use your higher faculties, you will be able to tap into the genius of the universe. It is all powerful. You have access to all the power in the universe. It is ever present. It is always here. It is here all the time. Now, when you're setting your goals, and I want you to remember, my spiritual DNA is absolutely perfect, so do not set them small. Bet on yourself. Go after what you really want. Now, it is essential that you commit to your goals. When we're talking about goals, if it's a wish or a hope and it's not a commitment, it's not going to happen. I don't care how big it is. You accept that idea right away. You fuse with it, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. You become one with it. You start thinking and acting from the goal already achieved. And as you do that, you're going to take off. Now, there's only two things you have to know to achieve your goal. You have to know where you are, and you have to know where you're going, and you put on a rocket on your back and you get to work. You start getting to work on going to where you want to go. You see forward. We see not how life is or what we're capable. We see how we're programmed. And that's where the paradigm comes in. The only thing keeping me from my next goal that I want to achieve is my paradigm. Well, how do I alter it? We spoke about this yesterday. To alter the paradigm, I have to think and act like the person I want to become. I can't just think like the person and not take action. I can't take reckless action and not think and have a plan. I have to think and act like the person. What does that person who's earning $1 million or more think like? What are their actions? How do they behave? That's how we're going to create a $1 million frequency. And I want you to see this right now. Big money. I did this slide purposefully because if anybody is resisting this when they're looking at the slide, that's one of the paradigms you have to change. Money is neither good nor bad. It just is. But the more money you have, that is a report card of the more good you've done in the marketplace. And if you don't have a healthy relationship to money, money is never going to come in, and you're not going to be able to allow yourself to do the things that will create more good, experience the wonders of life, donate to wonderful charities, to really build yourself. Like all of us at the Proctor Gallagher Institute donate to the Unstoppable Foundation. I remember my donations used to be a lot smaller than they are now. Well, as I've grown, I can give more. So I want you to ask yourself, do I feel worthy of big money? This is very important because we will only attract into our life what we feel worthy of. Right now, what all of our results are tell us what we feel worthy of. A lot of people will be like, no, that's not true. I don't make up the rules. I promise you it's true. But you can always work on worthiness, and we're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow. But do I feel worthy of big money? Ask yourself that. I want you to really ask yourself, do I feel worthy of it? From this moment on, you can think whatever you think about. I want you to only see yourself and feel worthy of the good you desire. Now, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency, match this millionaire frequency that we're talking about, and the reality of what you want cannot help but you get that reality. That was from Einstein. I want you to think about this. I want everyone to build the image right now of a millionaire that they are living, earning seven-figure income. They are earning millions. Not just one, they're earning millions, doing so much good. Now, I want you to hear this again. Everything is energy. And that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality. Think and act like that person you want. You cannot help but get that reality. This slide you want to master. Am I on the frequency of a millionaire frequency or whatever it is you desire? Now, we want to really understand we have our wants. We want to really get this. This is so important. Our wants come from the essence of who we are. If we want something, it's because it's coming. It starts in the subconscious mind. It communicates to the conscious mind that says, hey, I want you to pay attention to this. And that's your want. Right now, your soul is saying, there's more for us. What is it telling you that is an opportunity for you? See, unfortunately, most people let this go within a couple seconds. That's why we said yesterday, you want to master the stick figure. We're teaching in all these different ways. The top half is the conscious mind. The bottom half is the subconscious. And the little circle is the body, what you're going to see in results. Well, it starts in our subconscious and communicates to our conscious what we want. Now, our job is to grow that want into a desire. Well, how do we do it? We say, I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning $1 million or more every year doing what I love and loving what I do. Now I'm getting emotionally involved in it. Well, when I get emotionally involved, I turn that want over to my subconscious mind and it turns into a desire. Now, it doesn't just turn into a desire, it grows into a desire. And our desire is what fuels us. Our desire is what gets us to act. Our desire changes the vibration. The vibration dictates what you attract. And any want that grows into a desire has to come into form. Once it's a desire, it's a done deal. Now, until it's a desire, it is not going to come into form. Well, how do we bring it into a desire? It's through the repetition of seeing ourselves with what we want. See yourself. What does your life look like when you're earning $1 million? What are you expressing? What is showing up for you? How are you acting? Really see yourself already $1 million. Say to yourself, auto-suggest. Auto-suggestion is a suggestion from yourself to yourself. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $1 million or more and I love it. Well, now once you've turned it into a desire, everything attracts to you. What happened? Desire dictates the vibration. Your vibration dictates what you attract, your conditions, your circumstances, your environments change, your results change. You're on that millionaire frequency. Then next year, because the essence of who we are is for growth and expansion, that million is going to turn into 3 million or 5 million. You're constantly growing. That's what goals are. They're for us to grow. Now, entering in the spirit of it, you want to really understand this. Entering in the spirit of it, what is it? It is your goal. It is falling in love with an idea. It is falling in love with that goal. That goal, you want it to drive you. That idea, you want it to absolutely drive you. That's entering in the spirit. When you're in the spirit of something, you're in complete flow. You're not forcing it. You're allowing it. When we allow it, the good comes to us effortlessly. When you're watching a great ball game, you're in the spirit of it. You're on the edge of your seat. When you're reading a great book, you're in the spirit of it. When you're in a great conversation with a close one, you're in the spirit of it. Well, we want you to get into the spirit of your goals. Now, in order to get in the spirit, every day, it's either going to be one day I'm going to do it or day one. You decide. I want every day. And we want every day that you're humble and hungry and you're really starting over at day one. Today is day one. I am so happy and grateful now that I had the most amazing day, that I am thinking and acting like the person who's earning $1 million. Then tomorrow, you even have more desire. You're even into the spirit more because repetition is what gets us into the spirit effortlessly. Well, there's 3 keys in goals. We already said that you have to know where you are and where you want to go. Now, the 3 keys to goal achievement are, number 1, we fuse with it. We become one with it. You're not separate from it. The goal is not outside of you. The goal is right here. It's the example I give all the time. If I was going to dinner with you and we were sitting out at a steakhouse and we ordered a steak, we wouldn't wonder once we ordered it, is it coming? This is where most people make the biggest mistake. They are not fused with it. They have not created the understanding that they are one with their goal. That's how they achieve it. They're separate from it. They say, well, they put this timeline in their head that says, well, it'll take 2 months. We don't know how long it'll take. We create it in the present. Right now, how I'm thinking right now is going to create my future life right now, today. So my job is to accept it. Then number 2 is to create identity-based behaviors. how does that person behave? We spoke about this yesterday. How does a person who's on $1 million frequency behave? What do they think about? What are their action steps? What are the people they mastermind with? How is their attitude? What does their discipline look like? Well, we start seeing ourselves behaving like the person we want to become with our eyes closed. What did we say? Any idea that we hold will come into form. Well, when I'm just watching how I'm behaving like that $1 million frequency. Well, then when I open my eyes, after I have closed my eyes and see myself behaving, as I open my eyes, I behave that way all day long. Well, what am I doing? I'm going from the old me into the new me. I'm going into the person I used to be to the person I want to be. It's what I want, not what I want now, what I want the most. And it takes discipline. But these are, as Mikey said yesterday, it's just little things compounded over time that create the big results. And the third one is process driven. Do 3 to 6 goal achieving activities every day. Now, it doesn't have to be 6 because less is more. Some days it might be 4. Some days it could be 2. But make sure every day you're doing goal achieving activities. That's why we say think and act like that person. It's not just think. A lot of people, and I know some of you are sitting there saying, oh, this is me. A lot of people will study this for a few hours a day, but never act. Without the acting, it's delusion. We have to think and act like the person we want to become. Now, you don't have to know where you're going, but you must really want it. Your want has to be through the roof. Your want has to drive you until we grow it into a desire. Whenever your want is so strong, you are going to attract it to you. It's energy. We've got to get emotionally involved in the energy of what we want. What do you think desire is? Desire is either good or bad. Remember, your subconscious gives you whatever you're desiring. If somebody is focusing on worst case scenario, what they don't want, but they're going to attract that to them too. We want you to focus on what do you really want and get that want through the roof. I am so happy and grateful now that I am so worthy of the good that I desire of $1 million or more, and I love it. That is a want. That is emanating. That is in the spirit of what you want. And as you do that, you're going to bring it to you and you're going to get it to you so quickly. Because if you're sitting there and saying, I want it quicker, focus on what you want more, but be detached from it. Don't be attached. This or something better. And you think and act like that person. Now, in order to be a great goal achiever, these are 3 key pillars of success. Number 1, I have a healthy obsession for my goal. What I mean by that, that goal is always on my mind. I'm in the spirit of it. I wake up and the first thing I think about is my goal. That's how you know you've built it into a desire. It's a healthy obsession. When you have a healthy obsession, you will operate your activities with a relentless spirit. What I mean by that, you're constantly thinking, how can I? What can I do? And you will attract so many amazing things. The universe is always working to serve you, and it will work in harmony and start showing you signs of what you're doing. And that will create having a fearless attitude. When you're fearless, nothing can stop it. I don't know how it's going to come. I just know it's coming. It is, I know that I know that I know. Obsession creates relentless spirit, which creates fearlessness. Now, entering in the spirit of it, it is absolutely essential. Remind yourself, repetition allows us to enter in the spirit effortlessly. And what is repetition? It is so illogical to the paradigm hates it. It will fight you tooth and nail. But just remember, when you get on the other side of the paradigm, by making your want and growing it into a desire, that's how, when your want is stronger than the want always wins. When the paradigm is stronger than the want, the paradigm wins. So this is why you're thinking and building your want and really understanding how important it is for us to put conscious attention on it and think and act like that person is going to break you free. Now, there's 3 types of goals people set. Anybody who was around Bob knew there's only one goal people set. It's a type C goal. If you were masterminding with him, that's the only thing he accepted. There's 3 goals though. There's a type A goal, which is a goal you've already done. It won't stretch you. It won't grow you. There's another goal, which is called the type B goal. This is a goal you've already achieved. You know you can do it. It's a little more than what you've done, but it's not going to stretch you. The types of goals we at the Proctor Gallagher Institute want you to not set, but achieve are type C goals. These are the goals that wake you up in the middle of the night. You're so fired up to start the day the next day. These are what we call our stretch goals, where it's what you really want, how you really want to live, and you get comfortable being uncomfortable. This is where the magic happens. This is outside your comfort zone. And remember, the price to win is living outside your comfort zone. You want to start stretching yourself, start thinking like the person you want to become. And as you get comfortable stretching, you're going to create goal after goal that you're going to achieve. Now, there's no such thing as goal achievement without understanding attitude. Attitude is the single most important and impactful lesson I personally ever learned from Bob. You know, there was a time I was stuck. And I called Bob and I said, you know, I'm really working against it. And he said, well, what's the problem? I said, my results are just not what I want. And he said, well, you know, it's your attitude. He said, I'm going to teach you something. If you really get it, it's going to make the biggest impact. And he said, anyone can have a great attitude when things are going well. He said, the true pros in life, the true professionals have an even better attitude when things are not going as well. And he said, my mentor taught me that years ago, Arash. And he said, if you get this, everything will change. Well, from that moment, I went on a 2-year study of only attitude and watched my attitude. Well, all of us have an attitude right now towards this call. We have an attitude towards a millionaire frequency. We have an attitude towards our goal. I want you to align your attitude with what you want. Attitude is our thoughts. We send out thoughts into the universe. The universe brings thoughts that are in harmony back to us. We send out feelings. The universe will bring that back exactly what's in harmony with that. And then we send out our action. Well, attitude is a 3-step process. It's number 1, it's our thoughts, our feelings, and our action. That's what creates our result. Attitude creates every result we have in our life. It's our thoughts, what we're thinking about on our conscious mind. It's our feelings, what we're feeling in our subconscious mind. And it's our action. Now, we're not going to achieve our goals without a great attitude, and we're definitely not going to achieve our goal operating from the old paradigm that has created the results we've had in the past. We want to step in and understand paradigms are not a bad thing. They're not a good thing. They just are. You have great paradigms. You have other paradigms that are not as effective. But this is where it's really important to understand what a paradigm is. It's a mental program that has exclusive control of our habitual behavior. And almost all of our behavior is habitual. When I see this, and I could take you back when I was struggling, and then when I was winning, instead of focusing on my old, I was focused on creating the behaviors of the new. I would match my new thinking patterns with the person that I wanted to become. So it's what we've been talking about, thinking and acting like that person. Now, when we think and act like that person, everything changes. It's a game changer. Now, this is what most people are doing. Now, there's somebody here. I'm going to give an example. There's somebody here who says, you know what, Arash, I am on the millionaire frequency. I'm so happy and grateful I'm earning $1 million. They're looking at the results and the paradigm got them. The results are controlling how they think. They're letting the outside say, listen, I'm only earning $110,000. This is not $110,000 a month. So their conscious mind is filled with their present results. That's what we call programming, their present paradigm. Well, that means their subconscious is going to be given that exact image, present results, which guess what? Produces the same results over and over again. That's what the masses are doing out there. They're saying, I want to change, but they're thinking from their present reality. They're thinking from their present, what they hear. What we want to do is understand this is called a fulfilling cycle of doom. It's thinking the same results, having the same image, feeling the same results, doing the same actions, and guess what happens? The dream dies away. They come back again, they say, no, tomorrow I'm going to really think and act like that person. But they have not built the want. The want is not as strong as the paradigm. They keep looking at the result, the dream goes away. Well, a lot of people give up here. We do not give up. The only thing you have to do is make a definite decision that I am going to create the life that I really want. Now, an aware person, what they do, and a person who really makes the change that we're teaching, you're going to see the result and say, oh, interesting. I see what's happening, but I'm not accepting it. I'm in control. The only thing I can control is what I think about. I can't control my past results. That's based on my past decisions, beliefs, and behavior. But what I can control is I can use my higher faculties. I was taught by the Proctor Gallagher Institute that the only way to beat a paradigm is to use my higher faculties. So I'm going to use my imagination, and I'm going to use repetition, and I'm going to use getting in the spirit of it. And I keep using this power that is constantly flowing in and through me, and I'm only focusing on what I want. What do I want? I am so happy and grateful now that I'm building this image that I'm earning $1 million or more, and I love it. And I'm not just leaving that want, I'm going to take care of it. I know my mind is a garden. Whatever I planted, it is growing. And that whatever I grow, that I put an emotionally involved attention in it, and I control that attention to only what I want. And once I grow it into a desire, it has to come into form. And the most wild thing here that I want you guys to all realize, once it's a desire, it's not just in your subconscious mind, it's in universal subconscious, and the whole universe is conspiring on your behalf to make it a reality. Now, what happens then? Well, your vibration is altered. Your vibration dictates what you attract. Guess what? Attitude, 3-step process, thoughts, feelings, actions, and your results change. Now, in order to do this, let's go back here. In order to do this, we talked some of our pillars of success. One of them is discipline. Nobody can get you to think what you don't want. You have to allow that. So we've put a lot of attention on only accepting what we want and rejecting what we don't want. And as you discipline that for 30 days, you're going to change your whole world. Because once you got it for 30 days, you're going to do it for another 30. And you take those actions, and that's when your results change. Now, your mind and thoughts must operate on the same frequency of a goal. So everything is a frequency. Your millionaire frequency that we're teaching you is thinking and acting up here at the $1 million frequency. Having that explicit belief in yourself. When you believe nothing is impossible, that is when everything is not just, it might happen, it's a certain. But you've got to understand that nothing is impossible. You wouldn't have this want that was communicated to you if it wasn't meant for you. Do not give up on it. Grow it. Build your attitude. Build your discipline. Forget about the outside world. That was based on your past decisions, beliefs, and behaviors. Now, it comes back to here. The most important part here is our conscious mind. Our conscious is what gets into the subconscious. So we have to think. We've got to really think. Use your intellect. Your intellect is your thinking mind. Now, if you are not thinking and you are just letting the outside world, it goes right into your subconscious and you're going to get what you don't want. Accept, choose the ideas you want, reject what's not in harmony. Create an elimination list. Anything you need to eliminate, get rid of it. Write a list. You know, one of the things you could eliminate is I'm letting the outside control me too much. You know, get rid of it. Write out 100 times. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am in control of what I think about. I have controlled attention and I keep getting better and better every day. Well, the repetition of doing that is going to alter the paradigm. Well, as you do that, you are going to start using this and you're going to create what you want. Now, entering in the spirit of it is absolutely crucial. We have a conscious mind. We have our senses, and our senses is not, it's here for us to enjoy life. It is not here for us to make key decisions. It is for us to go enjoy great food. It's for us to go listen to great conversation, go listen to great concerts. It's for us to experience wonderful things. Now, what we want to do is really understand when we're using these faculties, and I'm going to say it over and over again, and I know Bob will do the same from his lesson, and I know Sandy will do the same in her lesson, and I know Monica will do the same when she speaks about this. This is the key. Use these faculties, develop your imagination, develop your perception. Your reasoning is our ability to think. And when these higher faculties, You can tap into universal intelligence. You literally, why do we say tap in? You allow it to happen. These higher faculties are in your conscious mind. Well, when you let, you get into the spirit of it. You enter in the spirit of your dream. I'm so happy and grateful now. It feels so amazing how much impact I'm making in the world, changing people's lives. You're in love with your dream. That's letting. That's the beginning of creating the life you want. Now, we want to really understand this. When we say this is the beginning, this is absolutely the beginning. You are a goal achiever. I want you to accept that idea. You're not just a goal achiever. You're a $1 million goal achiever or more. Now, we started with our spiritual DNA is absolutely perfect. On top of that spiritual DNA is our mental virus. That's called a paradigm. We want to get rid of the paradigm, but we'll get rid of it by understanding that you're a massive energy and you function on frequencies. I want you to really look at this PowerPoint. You are absolutely unlimited what you can create. A frequency is a level of vibration. Now, we keep understanding there is an infinite number of frequencies. They are a number of frequencies. It's unlimited. And every frequency is connected to the one above and the one below. That means that you could go way up there from where you are right now. You could jump 25 frequencies. You can jump thousands. Now, take an honest look at where you are in your life, and you could see how you get there. Like I can see where I am now and what I did. I really can see it. So can you, if you really think about it. Now, my goal, your goal is on a frequency much higher. Now, what we got to understand is how do we get from here, the small x, to the big X? You notice there's no lines here, but I remember that there is a place that I have to think and act like that person. Well, when I think and act like it, I fuse with it. The moment your belief matches with any state, well, what is a state? Abundance is a state. Scarcity is a state. Your goal is a state. But once you fuse with any state, this union results in the activation and projections of its plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. Well, once I go there, I start seeing the universe starts feeding me back people that will help me achieve my goal. I start getting new ideas. I start getting signs. Well, when this new state of conscious awareness becomes your home means your new paradigm. That's your home. See, my results right now are from my present home. Your present home is where your current paradigm is. But now we have matched with another state. Well, this state isn't just a state from you to view the world. It's your workshop. And if you are aware, that's what observant means. If you are aware, you will see your outside world changing upon the model of your imagination. What did we say? Whatever we think about comes about if we get emotionally involved in it, whether it's what we want or what we don't want. And when you move on to a higher frequency, you will be communicating with a world that is totally foreign to and beyond the reaches of your five senses. See, your genius is not in your present results. It's not in your senses. It's in the non-physical you. It's in this quantum field that we have access to because our spiritual side of us is the highest side of our personality. Our lowest side is the physical. Most people are coming from the physical, from the five senses. But when they start understanding that we have so much power and access to a side that is the non-physical us, that's when you're going to move on to a higher frequency. Now, let's look at this. To move to a considerably higher frequency, this $1 million frequency of thought, you must consent, adapt to those ideas and feelings the new frequency represents. What does that mean? That means I've accepted that idea. There is a place. I am going there. I am living there. I am thinking there. I am acting with courage from that point. And when you do that at the suggestion of a move, just remember your paradigm is going to put up a massive battle. It is going to fight you tooth and nail. But how do we overcome that? We accept the idea. Our want is stronger than the paradigm. The paradigm has no chance. It will not have any chance over a strong want, which you've already built. and it will continue to fight you, but you take conscious control and you've removed and replaced it by this point. And then guess what happens? Now, like Jobs says, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust, you have to have applied faith. That's faith with confidence that it will connect into the future. And this is exactly what happens. You think and act through the repetition from entering in the spirit, from getting emotionally involved, growing your idea into your garden, because that garden is growing inside of you. It influences your conscious thinking. It controls the vibration. Your vibration dictates what you attract. And guess what? You achieve what you wanted. But the great part is, as my great friend Bob would say, you could have went there. And this is the goal achievement process. Control the flow of thought energy. You let the new paradigm that you're walking into, the new behaviors, let it flow freely and through you. This power is flowing in and through us, and we get to direct it. What are you directing it to? Abundance or scarcity? What you want or what you don't want? That's up to you. And remember, any idea that is held in the mind, that is emphasized, that is feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate physical form available. What this means is, I am holding all my attention, any idea that's held in the mind. I am on $1 million frequency. You are on $1 million frequency and above. And you operate with suggestion on a conscious level. You only focus on what you want. Guess what happens? Attitude, thoughts, feelings, actions, you're going to get the results. And this all is prequel to making a decision. This is how I'm going to live. I am not making any decision. I'm making an irrevocable decision because I knocked the walls down that I was changing my paradigms yesterday. Today, I knocked the walls down that I've made a decision that I am only thinking and acting and living and creating a definite mental picture, and I'm getting emotionally involved in what I want. The outside world has no control over me anymore. I have allowed myself to be disciplined and to walk into the new person. As you make this decision, seagull, 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 all these seagulls are going to be achieved. I promise you, in the next 5 years, you're going to have a stack of gold cards of seagulls that you've achieved. This is the same process that Bob taught me, that Bob has taught probably millions of people, that I implemented, and I know you're going to implement this. All right, Monica, you've got an amazing, amazing feedback for them, and I can't wait to hear what you have to give them. And like I said yesterday, I emphasize this because these ideas work if you work the ideas. You want to really pay attention to this woman. She's so good at what she does, and she does it in such a great, precise manner. Monica, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thanks, Mikey and Arash. This lesson has inspired me, and I hope it has inspired you just as much. There's always so much more we can learn on goals and growing and reaching for more of who we are. Our goal that we're going to create is to introduce to us a part of us that we didn't know even existed inside of us. I remember Bob told me that, and I thought, what does that actually mean? It means we have that other version of us inside of us. Goals are for us to grow. And it's the creation process of growing into this new version of you. That's what goals are all about. And I want your goal to really be coming from an inspiration place inside of you, from your heart. Your goal is going to want all of your energy, your love and affection. So you want to really fall and have connection with this goal. You're going to be spending a lot of time with it. Basically, what I'm saying is you have to choose to go all in with your goal. And it's so, so exciting because when you truly understand the goal achieving process, you're going to be able to create anything that you want. Okay, absolutely anything that you want. And that may seem like a big idea. It is a big idea. And it's really cool thing to really adapt because we get to create anything. We have that ability to learn this process and become goal achievers. That's our personal responsibility. And I think you can see from today, you are going to want to have that goal that truly is going to create a life that you really love, a life that you want, not that everybody else wants for you, but that you want. And I want this to be part of your new identity. You're going to be constantly setting goals based on what you want. So already put that image in your mind, start putting that into your identity, because I don't ever want anyone else to set goals outside of them. I used to set goals that other people thought I should do. Oh, you'd be really good at this. You'd be good at that. And I would take that and be like, okay, this should be my goal, rather than taking it as feedback and saying, okay, do I really want to create this, or am I doing it for someone else's reasons? So really take a look at that as we're coming up with our goal and we're formulating it. But the one thing that I do know is that I want you to make up your mind that you're going to set a goal that inspires you, and it's going to wake you up and ignite your heart and really open that up. Big things are always coming your way, always for the good of you. Take a look at that, because you can't win in a big way if you're playing your life really small. Okay. You have to go after your goal with everything that you have. And the goals that, Arash shared with you, he taught you, okay, the C-type goal. Goals are for us to grow. Everybody who has set a goal and achieved it grew from the goal achieving process. You are doing it for the person who you want to become. The things that you get from the goals, let's say you have a money goal, those are the things that you get. The part of the getting is the growing. You can't get if you don't grow. And they will not stick. They might just be short term if you are getting it for the wrong reasons, right? We want to really create this and set goals that we are going to be inspired, and we're constantly going to be setting ourselves up for long-term success and happiness year after year after year. So your spirit is going to know the how. I want you to really trust that. Your spirit's going to know the how. Your job is to fuse with that goal. You want to fall in love with that goal, turn your want into that desire, that passion, and your intuition is going to guide you on the how. I mean, Arash went through this, the higher mental faculties. I know that this is something we got to get out of the intellect and into our heart, which is the higher mental faculties. It's going to guide us constantly. But with that C-type goal that is going to require you to grow, it's going to require you to stretch. The growth can be uncomfortable, okay? I'm more uncomfortable now, or just as uncomfortable now than when I first started, because my goals keep getting bigger and bigger. So really get used to that feeling of being uncomfortable. It's part of the goal achieving process. But when you set a goal that's really inspiring, it's going to outweigh some of these emotions that you may be feeling and facing, because your goal is that close connected to your heart. And that means your mindset's going to be stronger. Your goal is going to be stronger than that paradigm. So you want to get that desire stronger than the paradigm constantly, or if not, the paradigm is going to win. And we don't want that. We want to blow past any sort of fear, doubt, or worry. We want to blow past that and look at those things as feedback on things that we need to work on. But I want your desire to be much stronger than that paradigm, because what's going to happen is you're going to start to let the results control you. And then you're going to drop and operate from your current image. And we don't want that. We want you to start operating from your goal already achieved. So an easy way to look at this is, what energy is your goal? What is that frequency of your goal? Really think about that for a minute. If you've already achieved your goal, how would you be feeling? How would you be thinking? What type of attitude would you be having if it's a done deal? It is already achieved. You would be feeling relaxed. You would already know that you're happy and content and you're on to the next C-type goal. So this is why the goals that we're talking about is going to demand you to use your higher mental faculties. It's going to demand you to use your imagination. We really want you to really tap into that. Let your mind really explore. And to change that paradigm, remember, there's only two ways, okay, which is the emotional impact, which is usually negative, or space-paced repetition, what we're talking about, okay? Repetition is close to my heart. I changed my entire life on repetition, on autosuggestion, on repetition of new ideas, on the repetition of new thinking, new visions, and really faith, repetition of faith. rather than that fear. So your paradigm will fight you. It's going to put up this royal battle. When we're going after that C-type goal, it's going to feel like sometimes chaos and confusion is letting go. Royal battle, like the terror barrier. Your paradigm does not want you to change. It does not want you to repeat things over and over again. It's going to say, oh, come on, I know this, or you don't have to do this right now. You know, what are you thinking? It's essential to stop that and really focus in on what you want and why you want it. And you're going to override that paradigm. But really stepping out of that paradigm that you're operating with right now. Everybody, today's a new day. So every day we have to wake up and we have to refocus on getting better. I'm a constant new thinker every day. I'm a new beginner every day. I'm a new student every day, because I know I have not even tapped the surface of the potential that I can get at. So when we're talking about our spiritual DNA is perfect. When I first heard Bob talk about that and Arash talk about that, I did not quite understand it. You know, years ago, I'm like, intellectually it made sense, but I didn't emotionally understand it. And I was looking instead at all these things that I needed to be fixed. I'm like, well, if I'm perfect, I've got all these things I need to be fixed. And, you know, I said, I have to fix this. I have to do this. I don't like this about myself. And I remember having a conversation with Arash, and he says, no, nothing needs to be fixed, Monica. We just have to show you how to get better. That's it. And once you focus on getting better and really getting in control of your mind, you're going to create massive quantum leaps. Focus on improvements. And the insecurities really started to naturally fade and drop away. It was really quite amazing when I shifted that focus. So when we're talking about all of these goals and our wants from yesterday, I believe goals they're just energy. Goals are this life force, and goals are this state of being, this frequency. We're talking about millionaire frequency. That is a state of being. That is a lifestyle that we want to create every day. Once you set a goal, you make that decision and you execute it. You carry it out through this strong currents of this energy, and you're going to start shifting your mindset. You're going to start shifting your behavior. You're going to start shifting your thinking. This is what we're teaching you, is how to get mentally stronger so you can face that paradigm head on and straight. So, you know, when we're going more deeper, and as you get more understanding with goals, they have to really be meaningful, okay? Because when you have a meaningful goal, and they also must be difficult and challenging, you don't know the how you're going to get there, okay? If there was no challenge, there would be no growth. Okay. The goals that we're talking about, it's all going to change you for the better. And most people don't like change. I'm not talking about you guys here with us this week, but most people don't like change, right? They resist change. That's why the goals we need to have that are really going to challenge us. Because if it's not challenging us, we're not going to change. So keep that in mind. And really, when you're setting out your goal, might feel some resistance. Your paradigm might want to come in and, you know, try and knock it off. Just keep reframing your mind, saying, no, you're not getting in my head, and keep focusing on what you want. You know, it's just that strong. It's almost instantaneously, it's going to come in and try and rob you of your dreams and your goals. Don't allow that to happen. So what I'm talking about is getting in control of you. This is about you. I control the flow of my mind. Nobody else can do that for me. That's the same with you. So you want to really get into the spirit of your goal. You want to fall in love with your goal. And you're going to create these pillars of success daily by focusing on getting better, and better than you were the day before. So remember, it's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all aligning. Your beliefs, your behaviors, this is going to reflect who you want to become. So when I'm talking about getting into the spirit of your goal, this is going to take some practice or not. You can instantly just say, okay, I'm going to get into the spirit of my goal every day, and I'm going to do what I can every day, the best that I can. And as I grow and grow more awareness, I'm going to understand this more. So what we're doing is we're breathing life into that. We're breathing life into our goal. When you're breathing life into your goal, it's going to bring and breathe life into you. You become alive like you've never been before. It's like this magnetic force. So I know Arash, our entire team, we're constantly talking about getting into the spirit and become one with your goal. So that doesn't mean you're separate from your goal, right? You have a lot of passion where you become one with your goal. So, if you're having any emotions of feeling selfish, this is not a good thing. I'm going to lose time on my family. That's one of my beliefs I had to change when I was going after one of my big type goals. Was my paradigm was attacking one of my most precious areas, which is me as a mom and as a wife. The paradigm would be like, oh, you're not going to be a great mom if you do this. You're going to spend more time away from your family. Well, that was my paradigm. I couldn't feel those feelings of guilt. What instead I did was replace that with, you know what? I'm going to go after my goals, and I'm going to teach them how to create freedom so they can have permission to go after their goals. I was leading by example. And in fact, now I have created massive freedom and success, working less, but earning more, having more time with them, experiencing life. So it's really amazing when you start to build that picture on the screen of your mind. That was always the picture I had, was that I wanted to earn more money. I wanted to get on that millionaire frequency, and I stayed there, but I wanted to be of service here and enjoy a wonderful life. And now today I have that. I have all the things. So I really do believe to become a goal achiever, this is our responsibility, and it is our duty in life. It is such a pleasure and so much fun to expand that inner spirit of all of your thinking must come from your goal, which brings me to the daily assignment today. And like I said yesterday, the daily assignments are very important. These are the action steps that it's going to slingshot you. And you're going to literally do these things in such a small way. You're going to do the small things in a big way, but you're going to create mastery over time doing that. So we're teaching you how to connect to this all properly. Remember, we're talking about becoming process driven, where we're going to show you this process and you're going to follow it. So definitely don't put off these assignments, what need to be done today to move you forward towards your goals. Okay. That is going to require some action, and you want to have a forward movement every single day. So these daily assignments actually create that momentum that we're talking about with that immediate action. As soon as I give it to you, take that time and start doing these assignments immediately. Okay. So for today's assignment, it's going to be all around auto-suggestion. It's going to be repetition, which auto-suggestion is a suggestion to yourself from yourself. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into auto-suggestion because I think most people understand the importance of auto-suggestion and the power that it actually has. And auto-suggestion, to me, it helps you enter this state of flow so we can get to our goals faster. We can get to our destinations quicker with more ease as well, more effortless flow. Auto-suggestion for me is the number one tool that has helped me burn what I want into my subconscious mind. I know it has helped Arash out through his journey, Mikey, our entire team. This is what has really helped us increase belief. It helped build our ideas up. And when you practice this daily, you start to embody it, you're going to build a beautiful relationship with auto-suggestion. So you have to start doing it and practicing it to build that close connection with it. So for today's assignment, day one, or step number one, I want you to read your goal out loud for 5 minutes. Okay, really put your heart into it. Use all your senses, use all your emotions. Read your goal out loud over and over again for 5 minutes and set an alarm on your phone. The second part to this is I want you to rewrite your goal 50 times. And I want you to attach your success advisor to the sheets that you have written down of your goal 50 times. So that's holding you accountable as well to do that. And that's going to sound really tedious, doing it 50 times. Yes, it's going to take time. But what happens is writing causes thinking. Okay. Now, when you read and you're writing your goal, and you want to really do it, have this deeper connection where you're using and engaging your emotions. Okay. You have to get emotionally behind it. So be very visual, right? You can write one line, stop and be very visual, right? Create that image in your mind. really as your goal already achieved, the universe will hear you. I promise you that. This means you have to see the exact amount of money that you hope to acquire and achieve, right? Envision you performing this service for your business, and you hear in your mind maybe the compliments, the awards that you're winning, whatever that is, right? Because you're getting that feeling and that connection to it. So definitely engage all your senses, because your subconscious mind loves that. It loves all the exciting things. That's how you can speed up the process through this, is through the intensity of your thinking and the attention that you put on it. So over time, the cool thing about auto-suggestion is over time, you're going to get to this point where you become so engaged and so obsessed with this new idea that it's going to come true, because you already know in your mind that it's already a done deal. So that's for today's lessons. Make sure you attach your success advisor as well to it. And then you can join me back today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, I will be having a conversation with our success advisor, Marcelo, and I know he's going to go into extreme value detail on his goal achieving process. We'll talk to you guys very soon. Take care.